A very big welcome to you, my dear Pisces. A second time you're getting the Sun in Leo. You already had the Sun in Leo, and the message there was envision beyond your earthly illusions the healing of yourself. So when we become a second time the Sun that is giving the light to the Moon, right? There is definitely something that we need to look at, because it's almost like Leo is calling you. And you see Leo is facing to the left. And when we look at the card, we see that Leo is calling into the left. But when we become the card, we see that Leo is calling into the right. So the Sun is giving the light to the Moon, which is in your sign. And it's important for you to understand who gives you the light, right? Because the Moon has no light on its own. And you're going to your full moon, which is in the next reading, and you get your full moon light from Virgo. And Virgo is very logical, very health-based. And so observe what comes up. Now, the Sun is ruling Leo, and so the Sun is at home when it's in the month of Leo, right? And as such, it's important for you to feel that powerful energy. The yoga position for Leo is here, Simhasana, lion pose, and lion's breath. We stick the tongue out, we roar, right? We get out the energy. Now you are ruled by Neptune. And Neptune, of course, is that dream, is the dream that we have. And he observes and watches that, and also the mind. And the yoga position for you is, of course, fish pose, down dog, up dog. And as such, we have a triangle here. Now here we see how Osho painted the past life through the two hands, forming here a portal that are watched by these two lizards. And you see that animals are always depicted in those tarot cards, right? And animals are our spirit guides. And so when you see him calling now to the left, it means that he's calling your soul. He's literally saying, you are, yes, you are going to the full moon, but you're also going deeper to who you really are. But you're showing yourself, right, in the outer world, in this, like, this is who I am as a human. And so it's really interesting, because it's kind of like facing away from what's going on here. And of course, everything is circular, right? And so this energy is coming here at one point again. And so right now it's back to back. And then after the full moon reading, right, it's the place, the cards are placed like this again, and it's a totally different story. So just understand what's going on through the Sun and the Moon. This moment exists only once a year. And of course, if we understand that the other planets are affecting us as well, that this moment exists really only once in your life. Now you, in Osho Zen Tarot, are trust. You take that jump, you take that plunge into, let's see, into what? You are Pisces, the dreamer, or the one that dreams. And you're the 12th Zodiac sign, and as such then connected to the 12th house of spirituality and art. So the art that you're doing is always quite dreamy. And just the date for the Knight of Cups is your birthday between February 8th and March 11th. And he is your court card. If not, look in the description below. I have listed all of them there. So Leo's card, right? Strength, here's courage. And you see what kind of courage is needed to understand Leo. It's intense, right, when we see it, but it's exactly what I like about Osho's cards. The painting itself are maybe not my favorite ones, but the meaning behind it are really, really strong. So we begin, of course, with the court card, because that's your human expression out there. One more time. Envision beyond your earthly illusions, the healing of yourself. Remember, you are able to heal, you are able to awaken, and as such we're gonna see what is now coming up here. If there's a second time a card coming, we will see what's going on. And I see one card already is coming up, and it's very interesting. A second time. Good. So we begin with trust. Trust the source, because this is the Ace of Wands. Trust that one action that you're taking, which is spreading your arms and jump into here, source. Now you're the 12th zodiac sign, plus 1 is the 13. The 13 is a transformation. The 13 is Scorpio. Letting go into the unknown is really difficult for a lot of people, but sometimes that's all there is. Now, trusting source, I think you can do that. You know, source is like backing you up always. And the 4 is left, right? In the 13, there's the Wheel of Fortune. In the 12, there's the Moon. And in the 13, there is the Empress, Venus, the beauty and the love that's there, and the 4, then the Emperor. And out of these numbers, you get an end result, and that end result is really important, that you know how to lead yourself forward in this world. So we're going to look at Leo. What is Leo bringing you? And Leo's bringing you here the 4 of Air. And the 4 of Air is Jupiter in Libra. And Libra is, of course, the mind. This is also meditation. So the 8 and the 4 is the 12. That's you. You come up here in a consciousness, in a higher consciousness that is saying, have the courage to meditate, have the courage to look deeper, have the courage to look at source. It's like the eye of source. And then you will find who you truly are. And out of that, the 12, you get the 3. The 3 is then the Empress. Then a new form of yourself is being born. What comes up through Osho? The transformation. And that's Scorpio. That's the 13, right? And we have the 13 here with source and you as trust. So now you have a 13-13 here framing the 4. And of course, the 4 and the 4 and the 4, 3 times the 4. And what's really important is to understand that this is a portal that is bringing you a very important message. Now, 3 times the 4 speaks about the empowerment, right? The 4 is the heart, and the 3 is the empowerment that we feel. And we feel that when we look at source. And 3 times the 4 is also the code that you can imprint into the water for you to heal the water. If the water is not good, you imagine 3 times the 4 onto the cup that you hold in your hand, or the bottle, or whatever it is that you have in front of you, or whatever body of water you have, and then you transform it and you heal it. And so the 4-4, right, with the 4 here, I'm not going to calculate that together because it's important for you to understand. But we have the 8 here. So the 44 and the 8 in itself, right, is the infinite symbol. So just go with the flow. Then the Mother Peace Tarot brings you the Son of Wands, and the Son of Wands is Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is doing a crazy dance here. Now he is the 9th zodiac sign. Just going to show you. We have the sun coming in, and he's dancing here. You can see how he's like dancing and being wild. And Sagittarius is of course, a wild energy because he's fire and fire. And so the 9 gives itself up. And so, of course, I can calculate the 8 and the 9 together. I again get the 17. And remember the 17, that is the Aquarius, the star energy that is guiding you now to have the courage to go deep into your transformation, to trust Source, to trust what you're doing here is important, because he has the wand, he has the Source, he has the Ace of Wands in his hands when he dances, right? And then the 8, of course, is left again. And so understand that the 44 here is important, but also the 3 times the 4 in what are you gonna do next. Then we're gonna look at the Hanged Man, and we have the lapis lazuli coming again. You had it last time. So this is a reoccurring stone talking to you, and it talks about meditation. You see it here. And so the meditation and the deep look within is talking, and that's why the Source is here. And so the 29 turns into an 11, and the 11 is, of course, then the portal that helps you to see the next number, the 12, the Hanged Man. And so it's beautiful because this is the 3 and the 11, the 3rd of November or the 11th of March. Watch which date is significant for you. And so he aims the arrow up to the right so that you can really find who you are now. What is coming from Osho Tarot is morality. And look at her. She looks very interesting. She's like the Queen of Swords, and she looks like a prune with her mouth, and she's really like stuck in her own prison. So the sword people here are not very beautiful in Osho's deck, right? She cuts off heads, and she's the 7th zodiac sign. And so here we have the 12, the 3, and the 7 is a 10. A new way of looking, the way you step into the 1 wand, and you get the 10, which is then the next step. And so the 11 and the 10, in a way, it makes it 3 times the 1, and 3 times again you get the power to understand the 1 and only. So you have a 1, 1, 1, 1, 4 times the 1 portal, and 4 times the 1 is really beautiful because the heart will be opened if you trust Source, if you connect with Source. Then the Mother Peace Tarot brings you the Daughter of Wands, and the Daughters of Wands are all 3 fire signs. So here we have Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, right? And we had Sagittarius here as the Son of Wands, and we have Leo, of course. We don't have Aries. But observe, right? These fire signs, they want to tell you something. They want to tell you, go for it. Be powerful. And so there's a 3 here. And the new vision turns into a 3. So you have a 33. And the 33 is the mastery that we can reach in the secret brotherhoods. It's the last degree that we can get. And it helps you to overcome this kind of morality speech that you may get here, and you start noticing that that's not going to work for you. And you have the 3, 3, the 1, 1, and the 7 left. The 7 is also the emotional intelligence that we find in our crown chakra. And so it's clear you are able to learn to overcome certain patterns that have been implemented in your childhood when you were younger, right? But this is the younger energy of a fire sign, And also that meditation can help you to liberate yourself out of this wild daughters of wands, right? Because they are the wild ones, they're the fire ones. They're connected here with the Ace of Wands. And I think you're learning something here, profound, because lapis lazuli is coming a second time, and it came last time already. So the meditation is talking here. Then comes the moon. And the moon is bringing you the Magician's Sword. And the Magician's Sword is the 37. And so the 3, the Empress, Venus, the 7, the emotional intelligence, right? And of course, that's then a 7-7 portal here. And so sometimes we can cut ourselves out of this kind of pattern that the Queen of Swords is bringing. The 18 turns into a 9. The 9 and the 10 is then, of course, the 19. That's the Sun. And the Sun is a second time in Leo and calling you and letting you know. Use the Magician's Sword. Use the confidence in your magic, because you are the magic through the moon. And so the 10 is left here. A new cycle, right? The cycle from 1 to 10. And of course we had that 10 already by uniting morality, right? Libra with all these daughters, or with the new vision, right? Which is also a 3. And so you see that the 10 has come up. What's talking here is then the fighting, and this is Gemini, the Knight of Swords. And so fighting is being looked at from a higher perspective, because fighting means that you are not in a good shape with yourself. So the 9, right, and the 10 is the 19, the 10 is left, and he's the 3rd zodiac sign, and so there's a 13 again. And the 13, like we know, is transformation, is you awakening to something much bigger than you could have ever thought of. And that's what Source brings you. So the 13 is clear, right? It's like the 4 is coming, and then you have 5 times the 4. 5 times as you speak about the love and the ruling energies, ruling yourself, not a ruler that rules others, ruling yourself, right, is what impact is coming to you when you are actually ruling yourself and leading yourself in the most beautiful way, right? But you see here that Gemini is coming and is teaching you something. What is coming here? The 8 of Disc, which is Sun in Virgo. And so Virgo is here to let you know, keep working on yourself, because you want to let go of things like this for your full moon. You don't want that, right? So you have a Gemini, which is an air sign, and you have here Libra, which is an air sign, the Queen and the Knight. And you have the daughters, you have all the 3 fire sign, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, and you have Sagittarius as well, just by itself. And you have a Scorpio, right? The soul energy of Scorpio, not the court card. So learn what you can learn and work on yourself to liberate, because the 8 again is connected with the Strength card, with the courage. And like I said, we had the 13, and then the 4 is left. The 4 and the 8 is the 12. A new vision. Envision yourself without fighting, without needing to use here this sword, and awakening to a new type of inspiration. Sun in Virgo, and it's kind of like saying, yeah, Sun in Virgo, that's where you're going to have your full moon. Something is going to shift there. Something is going to awaken you there. And then we look at the Sun, and the Sun is bringing you the bravery, the oceans, the number 30. And you are the oceans. You are the water, because you're moving the whole ocean. And so the innocence of the sun, the 19, turns into a 10. The 10 and the 30 is 40. So now you have 6 times the 4. And then that's here the third eye that is opening. If you see yourself now walking over the world towards your full moon, and you can be joyous, right? You can do whatever you want to do, because then you get from Leo justice. And this is the soul aspect of Libra, of the morality this world holds towards us when we make mistakes, or when we're not, right, in accordance to how we think we should be, right? When we fight, or when we see that things are not easy, and sometimes people are like bringing us like the difficulty towards your education, your this, your that, but sometimes it's just karma. And so you have another 11 here, right? So you have an 11-11 portal, which is important for you to understand, because lapis lazuli, right, the meditation in it is like bringing you to a very beautiful place of justice. And in that justice, you're going to see there is no justice. It's a man-made word. And so I leave the 11, of course, as a portal. We have the 4 here with, of course, the innocence. So be innocent, be not justice, but be innocent, because then we see the world reverse, and that's Saturn. And Saturn is Saturn, right? It's the finger, or the borders. And here you are walking over the world. And it's what's really interesting here is, right, when you think of that, we think we're on top of the world, but we could also be on the bottom of the world, because the world spins. And it's like the world spins around the sun and spins in itself and creates other movements in itself. And so it doesn't matter if the world is upside down, but it's almost like you can't believe your happiness that you felt when you were a child. Now, because it's reversed, it's kind of like you almost don't believe that you were such a happy child. And you see now, here, she's like, no, you can be a happy child again. You can bring that memory back. And so the 21 turns into a 3. And the 4 is, of course, a 7. And that's the emotional intelligence that we need desperately now to see that here we see the source, here we see the light, here we see the fire. And this is the fire from Leo. Leo's wand. Leo is like pushing. It's kind of like, that's it, right? Also this here, magician's sword. And of course, also, right, the Son of Wands, he has the wand. And of course the daughters, right? Here we have all 3. And it's interesting, right? Because you understand clearly that 5 times the 1 is again speaking about the source that you have experienced, that you were able to connect with. And so the 7 here is left, the 7 that is letting you know the emotional intelligence is important. That's where you get the information. That's where you understand what it's all about, and that you are learning to fly and trust source. To trust that you take that plunge, that you take that step into source, and as such, that's the message, the 4, right? Then you can lead, then you can bring yourself to a place of pure existence. And that's what, for me, the source is all about. So I hope I see you in the next reading. That's when we get the Sun in Virgo. And the Sun in Virgo is here. The women are working together, showing what they have done, their work, their most beautiful work. And as such, I think there is work ahead of you in that full moon. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.